But we talked about all sorts of things, and I've got recordings of it, tape recordings, you know. And when we left, he had arranged, in the meantime, we couldn't pick up fuel at Jiwani, but he had found out there was fuel at the Air Force, Royal Air Force, had a couple of 44-gallon drums at another dirt strip, and they'd ferried some herons out from England to Pakistan. So he organised for us to go and meet with the Director General of Aviation in Pakistan to get him to change our approvals to go to this airport. You know, once again, the follow-up to that was we left about 2 hours before daylight, 3 hours, because it was mainly over water we were flying. And when it was daylight, I looked back and there was nothing but fog beneath us, ground fog. And the airport that we were going to was a pencil mark on the map. And of course, with the ground fog, you couldn't see what was happening. And I remember we flew around probably for an hour to an hour and a half. And eventually the fog started to clear a little and we could make out the runway, and we landed. And we had to pay for the full 44-gallon drum of fuel, you know, when they refueled there. But on the way back in the air race, we landed at Karachi. We'd been flying all day, and we arrived in Karachi about 11 o'clock at night. And you know the feeling of heat and humidity. That's what it was like on at Karachi airport. And Captain Aftab comes out to the aircraft with a silver tray and a silver tea service to give us tea. And I said, oh, thank you, Captain Aftab, that's fantastic, but we're going to have more than a cup of tea. We're going to have a meal here. We haven't eaten all day. Come with me. Anything you want is on the Pakistani Air Force. And we had a meal in the lounge of the terminal, and I think we had meat actually, you know. But once again, you make friends on the way over, and on the way back they're there to extend hospitality to you, and that was certainly very, very significant.
Yep. So I've heard tell that there was a very famous radio call as he left Bendigo.
Yes, let me see if I can recall. We were on the ground, and Melbourne Control, Mike Uniform Juliet, is taxiing for departure at Bendigo for London. And there was dead silence. And a couple of minutes later they came back and they acknowledged what I was saying. The only silence I've experienced on the radio like that was when I had a strike team up at Lithgow a few years, 10 or 15 years ago, and we were required to do a backburn in the hills around Lithgow at night, and the terrain was unbelievably steep, and I had a crew there, and they were going along with firelighters, and they had to hang on to trees to stay vertical and scrape the leaves into a heap to light them. Within 4 or 5 minutes, the flames had gone from the ground up to the treetops, and suddenly there were explosions, real explosions, and projectiles flying over our heads. So I grabbed everyone and got them down behind the bank, and I made a radio call to the control and said that we have munitions exploding around us. And they went very, very quiet, and suddenly they came back and said, in this area we have a phenomenon, I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. In this area we have a phenomena of coal covered in quartz. Oh. And if the quartz is heated, the coal explodes. Right. I said, I don't doubt that that's a fact, but I said, this is not it. This is real ammunition. Right. And it turned out it was a firing range. They had shells and ammunition that were just, that was quite incredible, really. That's the only other time I can recall a radio silence, you know.
Yeah, and such. Yeah. And so when they got back to you, did they have to repeat what you said? What did they say?
I try to recall what they said at the time. I think they wished us well.
Oh, yeah, that would make
I'm pretty certain they wished us well on the flight. Yeah, there was so much happening at the time because we were taxiing, and it was spontaneous. It wasn't.
Really?
It wasn't pre-planned.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
spontaneous. You know, when you're overcome by the moment to some extent. You're excited. You're heading off on an unknown adventure, and whilst you're confident, you're also very apprehensive. And it just came spontaneously that we were taxiing for London.
What an amazing moment.
It was. And look, the moments along the way, when you were talking about camaraderie before, we spent a lot of time, particularly in the air race, relaying messages for other aircraft.
As well.
Because we were so slow, we were relaying messages the whole time, and that was a courtesy not only to the aircraft but to the traffic control that was doing it. And one of the greatest issues of pride that I had in the entire flight was the fact that we went to England and back, including the air race, without any incident or any major or either diplomatic or aeronautical incident. And that's saying a lot when you're dealing with language and radio traffic in an air tourer with only a primitive pair of headphones to